Another very important aspect of running a website is to keep current backups. You need some kind of backup system in place, whether you're doing it manually or you have a custom plugin that can do it for you. Scheduled backups are a good idea, as opposed to just going in and running a backup whenever you have time. It's sometimes easier and more effective if you have some kind of program that'll let you run a backup once per week or however much you think needed. So this page here is at WordPress.org in the documentation, and it just tells you a little bit about how you can back up your WordPress site. Now every WordPress site has a set of files and has a database. If you simply back up all your files and you don't have your database, then that's pretty much useless, because every post, every comment, everything that is custom on your website is stored in a database. Every page, every post, every user. So it's very important that you also back up the database. Okay, so I'm going to go over real quick what a manual backup would entail, which would be just back up your files in your database without any kind of plugin or anything like that. So my WordPress site resides at techguystaging.com/blog. Let me just go to that directory. Alright, so you can see up here I'm in my blog subdirectory, which is where my WordPress site is. And all WordPress sites have these three main folders: the admin, the content, and includes. And then we have a bunch of other files. We have our htaccess file, our config file, things like that. So this is what our WordPress file scheme looks like. Now to grab this or to back this up, you could actually just select all and then just drag it over to your local machine, and you'll have a backup of all your files. You might want to have a folder that says WordPress backups or something like that, and then have a folder with a date, and then put all these files in that date, and that's how you could back up your files manually. Now your database also needs to be backed up, and if you're using cPanel or any of the other popular hosting panels, you probably have Php Myadmin. Alright, so this is my cPanel interface, and down here you can see I have this Php Myadmin icon, and that brings me to this area. And if I click on databases, I only have one database on this particular account, and that's this TechGuy4 WP234. So this is our WordPress database, and you can see we have the comments table, posts, options, taxonomy, users. So this is all very you need this. Okay, so if we click on users, we only have one user on this site, but if you have a social network type site, you'll have a bunch of users, and it holds things like the ID, the login, the passwords encrypted, the nickname, user email, things like that, the date that I registered. So we need all these tables. So you want to make sure that you're on this page where you can see all the tables, and then you want to just go to export, and then keep it at the quick method, and just click go, and you'll get to download it's called a dump file or an SQL file. So you just want to save that, and that's all you do to back up your database. You can easily I'll show you how to import it as well. So let's say that we backed up the files, and we have that SQL file. Let me go to my local host Php Myadmin, and let's say I want to restore my database. First I want to create an empty database, possibly with the same name, which was think it was WP234, and then click create. And then over here I can click on the database, which is empty, and click on import, choose the file that I just downloaded, that SQL file, and then click go. And you see it says successfully finished, 37 queries. So now if I go and see this database that I just created, it has my entire WordPress database. Alright, so that's all you have to do to restore a database. And that's manually. So that's the files and database manually. Now let's use a plugin. And this is a plugin called Xcloner. And it backs up both files and databases. So let's give this a download. And let's see, we want to upload it to our plugins folder. So let's just bring that over. Alright, so that's all uploaded. So let's go back to our WordPress backend, and we want to click on plugins. And let's see, Xcloner we want to activate. And we should have an option somewhere right here. You can see under plugins we have Xcloner. And let's see. So this I'm not sure. I'm going to try my actual WordPress login. Okay. Your default username is admin. Okay, so we just have to log in as admin, I guess. That's kind of odd. Alright, so let's see. Settings. Let's click on settings. It's always a good place to start. Alright, so we have our backup path settings. So this is the base path that Xcloner will use to select backup files and directories. So this blog folder is where all the files and folders that we want to backup are located. This store path is where we want the backups to be located, which will be in a folder called backups. Actually, it'll be in blog/administrator/backups. And I believe it creates the files, those folders for you. We have some options here, manual backup. We'll just pretty much leave everything as it is, because usually the default options are the ones you want to use. Let's see. So MySQL, it automatically grabs all of our database information. And we could back up multiple databases if we need to. Okay, so please change if default password is admin. So we want to change this password. Let's see. I'll just change it to my backup. Now that should be more secure for a production site. Okay, get some FTP options, cron jobs. We can set up a cron job to notify us of every backup that's made. So let's just save with these options. And let's see. Config successfully updated. So now let's go ahead and generate a backup. Alright, so we want, here it's asking us what tables to back up, and we want to back up all of them. Oh, I'm sorry, it says select tables to exclude from backup, so you don't want to choose any of these unless you want to purposely exclude it. So let's click continue, and it's going to run and back up all of our files. And I believe it creates a TAR file, which is basically like an archive file. Alright, so backup complete. So we should be able to get that backup if we go to, let's see, let me reload this here. Now we have this administrator folder, backups, and we have this archive. So let's bring that over to our desktop. Okay, and let's just see what this consists of. I guess it can't open the TAR file. We do need to just upload that to wherever we want to restore the site. And what I'm going to do is restore it in another folder that's not in the blog directory. So I'm going to create a new folder for this to restore this site at. Actually, you know what? I'll do it on my local host. I have XAMPP running, so I have an Apache server on my computer. So let me just find the XAMPP and then htdocs. Alright, so I'm going to restore the site on my local host in, I'll just call it blog. So what we want to do is bring the archive file in, and we also need the xcloner.php file, which came in the package that we downloaded. So let me just find that. So xcloner, and then you'll see down here we have xcloner.php. We want to bring that over. Alright. We're probably going to need to create a new database on my local host as well, for all the database tables. So let's try that out. We'll go to localhost/blog and click on xcloner.php. Alright, so we have an undefined function, add action. You know, I'm not sure if that's the correct xcloner.php file. Let's go to the xcloner website. Alright, here we go. So xcloner for WordPress version 3. This is the file we want. Actually, this looks like the same file. Let's see, browser. Oh, restore. Alright, there we go. So we have the wrong xcloner file here. So I'm going to delete that and upload this xcloner file, which is in the restore folder. So let's try that again on my local host. I guess I don't know where to go. localhost/blog/xcloner.php. I guess I have to upload that TAR file as well. Alright, here we go. So install in directory htdocs blog, that's correct. URL, that's going to be the URL. Choose the backup archive to restore, that's the zip file, or I'm sorry, the TAR file that we generated. And then here we want to put in our database credentials. Now I got to create a new database on my local host, which I did actually, but I imported the databases manually, so we don't want that. So I'm actually going to get rid of this database and create an empty one. Okay, so create database, and this doesn't have to be named the same as your site that you backed up. So we'll just call this WordPress. Okay, so we'll go back to the xcloner script. My username for my database on my local host is root. Password is that. And database is going to be WordPress. So this should go ahead and restore all our files. So I'm going to click Start Install. And hopefully this works smoothly. Alright, so files successfully copied, configuration updated. Please click here to continue with database import. Let's go ahead and do that. Database populated, all should be done. Click here to continue. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if everything's okay. So localhost / blog. Alright, so our front end, and now we can go to, just get out of here, we can go to our login page. Our same login should work, which is not admin. Okay. Alright, that works. We should have all our plugins. Yep. So everything seems to be in order. So back end, front end. Alright, so that's how you can back up and restore a WordPress site.